Hey, what's up guys? Rob here, and I'm back with another Horror Madness movie review. In the month of October, I'm going to be reviewing one horror film per day. We are now on day 8, and we're going to be talking about another classic horror film, the 1992 American slasher Candyman, starring Virginia Madsen and Tony Todd. This is actually an import Blu-ray that I got, even though they're going to release it on Blu-ray, I believe at the end of this year. I believe it's Scream Factory or something, but I'm definitely going to pick it up for sure. Written and directed by Bernard Rose. Had a bunch of producers, but it had an executive producer, Clive Barker, and this movie is actually based on a short story called The Forbidden by Clive Barker. The scenario switches in this movie from Liverpool, England to the north side of Chicago, which is a public housing development known as Cabrini Green. The music was composed by Philip Glass, which is excellent. When it comes to these films like Phantasm and Hellraiser and, Halloween, they just have some great themes. I love the theme to this one, for sure. But like I said, it stars Virginia Madsen, Tony Todd, Alexander Berkeley. The plot is very simple. Follows a graduate student, Virginia Madsen's character, completing a thesis on urban legends. And she encounters the legend of Candyman, played by Tony Todd, who is an artist and a son of a slave who has his hands severed and then was murdered. Great film. It made 25 million, actually a little bit over 25 million at the box office. And people recognize, when I said that the score was good, people recognize the classic score. It's just really, really good. But you have Vanessa Williams as Anne, Gilbert Lewis as Detective Frank, a lot of other people, but in short, this movie's basically Virginia Madsen going around, researching urban legends, like I said. The legend of the Candyman. She learns that if you say his name 5 times while facing a mirror, he will kill the summoner. So he'll kill the person who is saying it in the mirror with a hook on his right arm. There's a lot of story behind Candyman in this movie. I mean, they talk about, like, this gang, how, with the lynch mob or whatever, they were hired by his lover's father to cut off his hand. And he liked to paint. Cut off his painting hand, replace it with a hook. And then he was smeared with honey, attracting bees, which stung him to death. And there's scenes here where he basically opens his coat and it shows his rib cage and there's bees everywhere. Pretty messed up way to die, if you ask me. But I mean, it's I don't know, it's cool. Really cool character. And he's not holding on to a hook. The hook is just jammed in there in his arm. So there's this back and forth between her and Candyman. She sees him in a parking garage. At first it's all like just a urban legend, but then, she starts to believe, of course. But pretty awesome. Pretty awesome movie. Here's the thing. Eddie Murphy was the original choice for the role of Candyman. Now, can you imagine Eddie Murphy being Candyman? I really can't. I mean, then we would probably have a comedy on our hands. Because, I mean, Eddie Murphy, nothing against the guy, you know, he's a good actor. But I cannot see Eddie Murphy as Candyman. I just cannot. I can't even think about that. It's just, man, I'm so glad Tony Todd got it. And the reason they didn't get Eddie Murphy is because they couldn't afford him. They could not afford to get him. And people kept telling Tony Todd that he'll never be able to get the role. People would say, "Oh, you'll never be able to shake this." Virginia Madsen was friends with the director, Bernard Rose, and his wife. And Madsen was originally going to play the role of Helen's friend Bernie. But then, of course, the decision was to make the character of Bernie African American, so Madsen lost the part. There was some interesting controversy, too, about the film depicting racism and racial stereotypes. There were meetings going on, and people were, they were worried. Talking about why shouldn't a black actor be a ghost? Why shouldn't a black actor play Freddy Krueger or Hannibal Lecter? If you're saying that they can't be, it's really perverse. Madsen was worried about how people would respond. But, I don't see the big deal. So what? We have a black guy playing a horror villain, so what even if Hannibal Lecter's not black or Freddy Krueger? Who cares, It does not matter. But anyway, I love this film. I think it's one of the better horror films, especially of the 90s. And, the reception of the movie when it came out got positive reviews. They call it, one person quotes, "It sacrifices some mystery in the name of gory thrills. Effectively chilling tale that benefits from an interesting premise and some fine performances." I agree with that. Some people called it haunting, intelligent, and poetic. It's got a lot of that in there too, because he was a painter and stuff. Really cool. It's those films that, you compare it to Phantasm and Hellraiser, which are both weird films. This can get that way in the movie. There are some weird things. But what I like about this movie is the ending. And now, I don't know if people would agree or not. I'm going to talk about the ending a little bit because I want to, I just want to say something about it. But Helen finds a mural of Candyman alongside his lover, who bears a resemblance to Helen. And there was a message left by Candyman to imply that Helen is a reincarnation of his lover. Helen basically has to help him incite fear among the residents at the complex. So at the end of the film, Trevor faces his bathroom mirror and says Helen's name 5 times in grief. So then, Helen's spirit is summoned and kills Trevor with Candyman's hook. and his body's found by Stacy. In Candyman's lair, a new mural of Helen with her hair ablaze is seen, showing that she is now entered the folklore, which I thought was really cool. It kind of reminded me of The Shining, when, you know, Jack Nicholson is seen. Like, you don't see that at all. Like, he talks about how he thought he's been at the hotel before, but then at the end of the movie, you see Jack Nicholson, or Jack's character, in the photo, like he was there from back then, which was, that's really awesome. That's kind of what this reminds me of a little bit. But I really like the ending. I don't know. The ending was very, very cool to this movie. I don't know what you guys think of it, but anyway, yeah, Candyman. I would definitely give this movie an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I like the character. Like I said, Eddie Murphy would not have worked. I'm sorry. There's just no way. Ah, God. I can't see, that would not work at all. God. Candyman is awesome. I definitely recommend you guys see it if you haven't. It's definitely one to watch in the month of October for sure. If you're in the Halloween spirit, definitely one to check out. It kind of reminds me of that game, I used to play when I was younger, Bloody Mary. I mean, a lot of people play that, where you look at the mirror and you say Bloody Mary, or whatever. I don't know how many times you're supposed to say it, but it's like Candyman. It's like, say Candyman 5 times, you say Bloody Mary, you're supposed to see her in the mirror or something. You're supposed to have like a candle lit, and we used to do that kind of stuff, and it was pretty creepy too, I tell you. I mean, that's what kind of adds to the creepiness of this movie. The whole urban legend of Candyman. But, when I first heard about this movie, I'm like, is this about Willy Wonka? Like, when I was younger, I'm like, Candyman? Like, what, does he give candy out or something? Why do they call him Candyman? I was always confused about that when I was younger. I didn't know it had anything to do with, like, this kind of character. But that's what's cool about it. You got to watch the movie to get the point across. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this review. Next is going to be day number 9, and we'll see what we review that day. Thank you very much for subscribing, and I hope you guys are enjoying these Horror Madness reviews. I'm going to be doing all the way to October 31st, as well as trying to fit in more videos, more Halloween series reviews, because Halloween, the new movie, is coming up quick, and I hope I can finish in time. But then, I'm also doing more Wild Eye release reviews and trying to fit in other things like Blu-ray DVD updates and stuff. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. Definitely subscribe if you have not. And this is Rob. Stay tuned for the next one. See you later.